Hey there, guys. Welcome back to Press for Truth TV. Today is Wednesday, April the 11th, 2012. And today we are joined on the line by Mike Roy. He's a London-based activist. And Mike was recently banned from the University of Western in London for the brutal crime of documenting and filming a protest. So, Mike, thanks so much for taking time out of your day today to speak with us here at Press for Truth TV.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Dan.
So you've been on the show before, and but just in case for people who may not have caught that particular show, why don't you just start us off by telling us a little bit about some of the groups that you are involved with and what it is that you guys do?
Sure. Involved with Food Not Bombs London, really free market. Used to be involved heavily with We Are Change, still am, with the London and the Toronto branch, Occupy Toronto and Occupy London. Um, Participate in a lot of activities, make videos of lectures and activism, rallies, that sort of thing. So
And
that's
you're also involved with a group called the Indignants. Is that right? Is it like a alternative media outlet?
Yeah, it's called the Indignants. We do zine. We just got our website finished. It's theindignants.org. Going to be doing blogs on that, and of course the videos that I've been doing all along. And we were working on a radio show, but unfortunately that may be on the back burner for up to a year now.
Oh, because the radio station is located at the university?
Yeah, so CHRW, which is probably one of the best university radio stations for opinion, dialogue, and that sort of thing. Um, they can't have me anymore come into the office because they're funded, through the university, and if I'm there, then that puts their funding in jeopardy. So they said they'd be more than willing to work with me. Just they're going to have to deliver me the equipment, like the recording equipment and stuff like that. If I ever need to have it, I have to meet them at the gates and so forth.
Okay, well,
So
why don't you walk us through a little bit about what it is that actually that happened to you? As I understand it, it was a couple months ago that you were basically just documenting, doing your job as independent media and documenting a protest there. Why don't you tell us about how it all came about?
yeah, I mean, I participate in all kinds of stuff at the university. They always have little rallies and stuff like that, it seems. And this particular one was just a sporadic event that sprung up around Israeli Day. So the Israeli kids on campus were having an Israeli Day, and a lot of the Palestinian kids from UWO and the community wanted to go in there with tape over their mouths and hold signs up. Stand about 30 feet away from the exhibit and just stand there. And it wasn't done by any clubs in London or in the university. It was just a ragtag crew of people that just decided to band together and do it. Only lasted for about maybe 20 minutes, and utterly no words were spoken. And I stood there with tape over my mouth for the majority of it, with a video camera in each hand, and documented everything. And we left, and then that was February 1st, I think. And then about a month later, I received saying to go pick up a letter at the post office. Any letter that you got to go pick up and sign, you really don't want. So I neglected to go grab that. It went back to Western, and then they contacted the London City Police, who got a hold of me because they knew my number, and hand delivered it to me. So that effectively was my ban for a year.
So the police hand delivered you this notice from the school. What exactly did the notice say?
A sec here. So here it is here. It's a trespass to property notice. It's got my name, my address, my phone number, date of birth, um, effective for a 1 year period. Reason: participating in a prohibited activity, unauthorized protest at UCC. So I'm not allowed on any premises, including parking areas, buildings on the property, or affiliated to the University of Western Ontario. and it's signed by the issuing officer, Sergeant Stephen Dykeman, on February 10th.
And I mean, it's almost safe to say that you weren't participating in a protest per se. You were merely there documenting the event just to make sure that it gets recorded on video. Because as we know, the mainstream media usually doesn't cover these types of events, and when they do, they'll put their own spin on it. So it seems that this is kind of an unjust, unfair thing to happen to you for merely just exercising your right with the freedom of the press to stand there and document these kinds of events. That's the job of the independent media, and it seems to be that that's all simply all you were doing there.
Well, not to play devil's advocate on myself here or anything, but I did have a piece of tape over my mouth. So, um, and I guess, according to the Gazette, which is Western's newspaper, it said, I've got to find a little article here.
Yeah,
Create a
why don't you
personal
show
safety.
folks?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So basically, it says that students wish to protest, that's fine. Assist them in showing them where it can be done. In safety, when we have students that are there, could create a personal safety concern for students. The university has a responsibility for those issues. So apparently, a number of students felt jeopardized presence there. I'm not that ominous looking, and I mean a piece of tape over my mouth and 2 video cameras.
Yeah, well, this certainly is setting a very dangerous precedent. It's a slippery slope here. I mean, the freedom of the press is certainly under attack here in Canada. We got the CISPA bills, and they may be reenacting the SOPA and PIPA and ACTA, all these sorts of things that we have to deal with. But now we have institutions such as the University of Western banning people like yourself from taking part in protest and documenting and filming it. And it's terrible what happened to you. So is there any way right now that people can help you? Is there any petitions going around? Is there any websites? Is there some way that we can try to have this ban lifted so that you can continue with your radio shows there and continuing documenting these events? Where can people go right now to send you some support for that?
I believe there's a Facebook group. I could give you the link right after this, called "We Demand Free Speech at Western Ontario," or University of Western Ontario. It's one or the other. And it's just a Facebook page. It'd be great if people could join that, like it, throw a comment down. I will be doing an online petition, and there's a hard copy, a few hard copies going around London right now. One is located at Graphic Skin Tattoo. That's in downtown London, and there's going to be another 1 or 2 at Western, and I'm trying to get a few to circulate in Toronto. The other thing I wanted to point out that's really in question about some of this stuff too is I was reading an article the other day about how the Occupy protesters in the States were protesting a private bank being on the university land. Now, I realized, and it did say that it was a public university. Now, I realized that Western is supposed to be deemed as a public university as well. But, and they would probably incorporate for liability reasons. If the kids in the States contest, right, and not all of them are students and they're not getting kicked off of private property, I just don't see where the divide happened in Canada, where we went from having a public school system that was publicly funded, you know, to me, that on this institution, I should have the right to be able to go there and participate in activities there.
Absolutely. If it's certainly publicly owned property, you absolutely should have the right to be able to go there and to document these events and take part in these protests. So I would completely agree with that. Yeah, man, this is this is big story, and I'm glad that we're getting the word out there, letting people know that this is indeed taking place here in Canada. Some people don't realize just how bad things are getting up here. So again, man, thanks for telling us, you know, what's been happening with you, and I'll be sure to include a link in the description here to your YouTube channel, so people can check out the coverage that you do, and also a link to the Facebook group, so people can show their support, so we can maybe hopefully get this ban lifted, so that you can
Yeah, I hope so.
continue to do these things. Yeah, so
Hey,
yeah,
thanks.
just thanks again, man, for joining us today, and you keep up the awesome work, man. We'll talk to you again very soon.
Thanks, Dan.